Okay, so now we've moved on to, we're not gonna work on any machines. Now we've got some other equipment we're gonna use here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is some squats, and I'm gonna use one of these body bars here. It's optional. If you have a client that's really set and doing well with their squats, you can start adding weight, but you don't wanna add any weight until they are ready for it. So first thing you wanna do is start by taking your feet about hip width apart. You wanna point those toes straight forward. Once you've got those feet settled in place, and this isn't going to work for everybody. Everybody has different body types and they may need to adapt this, but this is where you want to start them. And then from there, you want to make sure that when they go into their bend, you want to check in with their knees. They're going to push their hips back gently. As they come down, they're bending into the knees. The knees are going forward, but you want to make sure that they don't go past the toes. So you're engaging that core and that neutral spine, and as you tip forward gently, you're trying to keep lifted with the chest, coming straight back up again. And as you do come up, you want to press into those heels slightly and then squeeze through those glutes and do a tiny press forward so you can really engage those gluteus muscles even more. Squeeze. You also want to make sure that if you do have a bar on your back, that it's in a nice soft spot. You don't want to have it sitting up against any cervical vertebrae. Making sure that it is comfortable back there. Pressing up slow and controlled. Also, you never want to snap those knees into place. Gently coming up and down, squeezing. And remembering to breathe, of course. Inhale and exhale. Slow and controlled. Good. Okay, so that's your squat. Next thing we're gonna do is some lunges. And again, if you want, you can have your client take some weights into the hands if they are stable enough in their lunges. Lunges do incorporate a lot more balance work, working the entire lower body as well as that core. And if they're stable enough, feel free to get some weights in their hands. So we're just gonna do a forward lunge. And you wanna, again, start with your feet about hip width apart. And stand up nice and tall. You always wanna be tall right through that neck and chin, and making sure that they're not out of neutral alignment anyway. And then you're gonna just step forward with one leg and bend into the leg and come on back. So you're gonna step forward, and as you bend in, you wanna make sure that that front knee stays above that ankle. This back knee here, you wanna line the back knee up fairly well with that hip, and you're dropping this knee and the hips towards the floor as you step out. So you can step out and back in, engaging the core the entire time to help stabilize you. Stepping out and back in, and you could switch legs. You could do one on each. Coming back up, and then the other, and back up, and down, and down. So again, softening through the knees. The whole time, you never want to snap those knees into place. Staying tall, those shoulders are back, retracted, and depressed the entire time. And we're breathing. And with those big leg muscles, they're gonna get their heart rate up a little bit. If they're going with a little weight, even too, is gonna help that. Good, okay, so there's our lunges. Next, we're gonna do some calves. And here, I'm just gonna do some calves on the floor here. So again, you can have those weights in their hands. You can take your feet about hip width apart. And all you need to do is come up onto those tiptoes. So again, standing tall, engaging that body, neutral spine, shoulder blades retracted and depressed. And then when you're ready, rise up onto the tiptoes and then lower back down again. Slow and controlled. Come on back down. And again, those weights are additional. If you want them, you feel your client is ready for those, that can add to their workout. And remember, you might wobble out of place there. Finding a place on the floor to focus on sometimes helps. If you look at a spot out on the floor there, as you lift and then lower down. Just going straight up. You also want to make sure your knees aren't locked out. They stay slightly bent. Lift and lower. Last one here, and lower. Good, okay? So there we go with the calves. Now I'm gonna move on to another chest exercise, and that can be your push-up. So with the push-up, of course, we have many options. Push-ups are an excellent exercise. Work that entire upper body for sure, and of course that transverse abdominal. So what you're gonna do is take your hands down right below the shoulders, and then possibly slightly a little wider than that, wherever you're comfortable, but you wanna make sure that the hands aren't above the shoulders. You wanna have them just below. And then what you're gonna do is start your client in knees and make sure that they can come down and up in their knees. From here, you're gonna bend the elbows slightly And you want to make sure that the elbows don't come directly out to the side. You also want to make sure that they don't come down close to the body, because that's a different exercise. You want to have them angled somewhere in between there, okay, where they're comfortable. And then, if they want to add a little bit more to this move, they can take those knees slightly back and come down and press up. 90 degrees in the elbows is as far as they need to go. Press up. And again, you don't want to let them snap those elbows into place. You want to go slow and controlled, engaging, watching that spine of theirs, and making sure that they're not drooping in the spine, and keeping that core engaged the whole time. And then if they want to, you could have them come up onto their toes, making sure that their hips don't come too high or that their head droops down, because a lot of times that's what they'll do, is get their head down first because they want to hit the floor or get down there further. But instead, have them up here doing a nice long, strong, engaged push up if they're ready and set for that. This is a major push up. Remembering to breathe. Whew. Okay. So there you go, done with push-ups.